Take a moment to come to stillness, to come to center. Like focusing a camera lens, adjust yourself inwardly. Arrange your body, your spine, your legs, your arms. Finding this connected inner flow, inner presence. Be present with your breath, the flow of life, the flow of time. Be present with the sensations. For a moment, ignore the thoughts, the words, the past, the future. Be present with the stillness, the silence between the thoughts, the stillness between the movements. Actively not knowing, purposefully not knowing. Because all that can be known is one tiny little speck. So in not knowing, then everything is, simply is as it is, without any need for explanation or justification. The universe, all the molecules, all the mountains, all the oceans, rivers, all the stars, everything simply is, without needing any additional commentary. Everything in existence is, and you are one with that. So by not knowing, then you're automatically in connection, in harmony, in rhythm with that oneness that is. But whatever idea or knowing we have is partial, is false. From a small perspective, some distortion of a tiny piece of information of something that happened once upon a time. We have to see clearly that this, what we call the past, is only in our own minds. No one else is sharing the same past in any way, shape, or form. Whatever features stick out, whatever pieces they remember. Even people sharing the same living space with us have their own creation, their own fantasy of the past, based on whatever sticks out, usually whatever went wrong. But that, what we call the past, we have to see very clearly it's not the past. The past is everything, everywhere. We have a tiny small piece that we twist and turn. So this past is not really the past. It's just some kind of a story based on a few things that happened, more or less, once upon a time. And that this past that we hold on to very tightly is not shared by anyone, anywhere, at any time. And essentially the same goes for the future. Future, no such thing. We each have a calculation, a projection based on our sphere of experience and our particular concerns and such that no one else can share either. No one else is sharing that. Even if we talk about it, what do we think? It's still just, that's a piece of it. We can't really express that. And so neither the past nor the future exist outside of our own mind. And so the path of yoga says, okay, maybe it's true. Maybe there is a future. Maybe there is a past. But for sure there's a here and now, right now. And it would seem that we've traded here and now for something good in the future. Right? But the more that we wait and the more that we observe around us, it seems like that never comes. So we have to examine carefully our understanding of life, the rules of the game, because if we have a misunderstanding, then it can affect the whole game, the whole way that we play. If we think the goal's over here, but the goal's over there, and we're scoring the wrong place or running the wrong direction, then that could have a deep effect on the trajectory of our life and our strategy. And so we're told the goal is to get what you want. The goal is you make a goal, you achieve that goal, then you'll be happy. And that life is for achieving goals, then you're successful, then you're good. You're good when you get what you want, when you achieve your goals. And that in achieving our goals, we have happiness. But it would seem that achieving the goal doesn't bring happiness, or perhaps a temporary happiness, but more it's a kind of excitement, like intoxication. Like you eat sugar and you get excited. That excitement is not happiness. It feels good, it's a good feeling, but it's more like a temporary intoxication, a high, and then followed by a low. And so when we get what we want, whatever it is, some guy, a girl, a job, a car, a watch, whatever, attain a certain pose in yoga, whatever the goal is, then momentarily we feel excitement, but then very quickly it changes, it's not good enough. Either we want something else immediately, or we're afraid of losing that which we have. And so it becomes a kind of attachment. And so happiness is not like that at all. Happiness is a kind of peace. Happiness is when there's the feeling of, I don't need anything, nothing is missing. And in that moment, a kind of fullness, a contentment, then the happiness is a state of wholeness, of flow, not of big highs and lows and highs and lows. And so that happiness comes not from achieving the goal, but from being present in oneself, moment to moment. And so the more we push and push to do good and to try hard and to get there, and we see it's still empty because we're disconnected from ourselves, from the present moment. And so the focus of yoga is, again, not on achieving more goals. Now we have to do this and do that and so on, but instead on learning to be deeply present. Deeply present means without thinking. Right? Whatever the thinking about ourselves is not ourself. Whatever we think about life is not life. And so this is why we're teaching how to shift your biorhythm, how to shift your breathing rhythm, how to awaken your spine and nervous system, regulate your nervous system, how to clean your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your heart, your mind, and then naturally rest in this state of presence. And the idea behind the regular practice is to anchor that as a way of being. The same like a sports player would train how to pivot, how to run, how to stop, how to pass. Again and again, you have to practice. You can't just explain the technique, but through experience, through experiential learning, by passing the ball again and again, by dribbling the ball, by throwing the ball again and again and again and again, then it becomes part of you. It becomes natural flow. In the same way, by repeating again and again, come to center, breathe it fully. Now focus your mind. Now be present when you feel uncomfortable. No, don't react, breathe. All these things, then we're gradually retraining our nervous system, our breathing, our patterns of reaction and perception, everything. And the same, like a sports player, will improve. They're doing the training, then when it's game time, right, then it flows. It's a spontaneous flow. In the same way, for the yogi in the daily life, it becomes a spontaneous flow, becomes a dance, a celebration, a joy. Instead of a problem, it becomes like an adventure each day, each moment. With the training, because we're in shape, we can appreciate, we can enjoy the game. If you're out of shape, for sure, you're going to get smashed. Right? You're out of shape and you try to go play any sport, you're going to be winded and all kind of acid and just out of breath and feel miserable. But those that are in shape will have a great time. So the same way for the daily life, we must be in shape physically, emotionally, mentally, at all three levels. And that's why we recommend maintaining some daily practice to challenge yourself so that you stay in shape. physically, emotionally, mentally, especially at biological level, circulating the blood, all the different systems, the lymphatic system, the digestion, the nervous system, so many layers and levels, that when that's stuck, then everything else becomes a big problem. So that's why we recommend to dedicate the same like you dedicate time to eat food every day and to take a shower. This is part of the essential alchemy of being truly alive. Not just being like surviving, right? But to thrive, like a garden. You see the garden, if you give love and the nourishment and nutrients and water and sunlight, then it will start to thrive. In the same way, no matter what state we're in this moment, if we begin to give the necessary nourishment each day to our bodies, hearts, and minds, without question, you water the garden will grow. The garden knows what to do. We don't have to explain to our body how to digest, what to do, the cells what to do. The body knows what to do. It's super intelligence, and when it's given the proper nourishment, it will thrive. The same with the heart. Your heart is born of the same super intelligence as your body, your physical body. So all these subtle layers, the willpower, confidence, the mood, the emotions, reactions, desire, all of this is patterned based on there's only the one pattern. Like the river, like the blood, like the tree roots, everything is naturally flowing in the pattern. And so when given proper nourishment, even you don't need to explain how to clean out all the past emotions and this bad everything. Just focus on nourishing yourself from the roots. The same with the mind. The mind will, when given the proper nourishment and space and care, the mind will clean itself and will also operate at a much more efficient and much more beautifully. And so it's really like gardening, right? If you know the basics of gardening, you can grow a beautiful garden. And you are the garden. You are the garden. And so it requires attention every day. The garden, you have to spend a little time every day. But if you give the proper care and attention, then the garden will grow itself. And so this is the approach. Not by forcing ourselves to act like this and do like that and think like that. But little by little, we know there's certain things that are important. Like brushing your teeth is good. But in the same way, activating your spine and nervous system and blood and breath, this is very good. This is very important. And so if there's simple ways we can do that every day, there's simple ways we can tune and sharpen the focus, the mind, or the breathing every day, then like a musician that trains, that warms up, like a sports player that warms up, for sure we will be much more alive, much more engaged with the life that we're living. And in doing so, if the life that we're living is incredibly out of alignment with our soul, with our purpose, with our inner feeling, then naturally, gradually, we'll start to make the shifts in our life that we come more into alignment. Because many times we have to neglect ourselves, or we're living a life that we don't feel, and that's part of the story. But as we become more in tune, in touch, sensitive to what's going on within ourselves and around ourselves, then very naturally we start to shift and move in that direction. It doesn't have to be violent and control and repression and all of this, but instead from this place of like really like watering the garden with love. Doing a daily practice of yoga, breathing, and meditation is an act of love, like watering the garden. And so as we bathe in our own love, or that universal love, that's in your breath, that's in your blood, that's in your hormones and biochemistry, that's in the water, that's everything is filled with that love. Same like the plants, getting it from the rain and the sunlight and the nutrients in the soil and all of this. And so 100%, if you water your garden will grow. If you spend a little bit of time each day to care and love your garden, then you'll be full of flowers and fruits, and for sure you'll be able to be useful to others Right? We're afraid that, oh, if I take care of myself, then I can't help others. But it's really the opposite. When we're completely empty and disconnected from ourselves and just acting for others, it's never, we have to first, give ourselves so that we can give others. It's part of the responsibility of having a body and heart and mind, that in order to serve, really, in order to love, we have to be full of love ourselves. And so the recommendation is 2%, 2% out of 100%, which leaves 98%. That's a big percentage. 2% is 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, you can do approximately 12, 15 minutes of movement, 5, 7 minutes of breath, and 10, 15 minutes of stillness. Right? We're going to hand out later this week a breakdown, a chart that you can fill out and make your own practice. The recommendation is you repeat it again and again and again 100 times, 100 days in a row. You do the same thing. Because it's not about getting the practice right or performing the practice. It's about getting deeply, deeply into that state of peace, where your breath becomes very smooth, your mind stops fluctuating and running around, and for a moment you're free. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about the future. In that state of deep openness and connection, then the truth can flow through you. Then automatically some understanding is coming. But not through the constant smashing everything into pieces and trying to break it down with the mind and to weigh the pros and cons and running in circles like that. Instead, you just become totally quiet and listen. And then inside there's always a deeper knowing. A feeling like a contraction, like, oh no. When you hear music, something bad music, or music that's out of tune, you feel inside something very off. When you hear some beautiful music or smell something beautiful, you feel very open. In the same way, then we have this inner intuition feeling that you get. And so if nothing's coming, then you have to wait, like that. And by sitting more and more present in yourself, you become more and more in tune with yourself and with the life around you. So this is the foundation of this path of yoga as a way of life, not yoga like striking a pose. Right? This yoga has no idea about being a pose. The pose is to be rooted in yourself, in your daily life, in all of your actions, in all of your words, in all of your thoughts, in every situation and scenario. It has nothing to do with the yoga mat or yoga clothes. It's about to be in harmony with yourself and be in harmony with life. And that requires a certain training and a certain awareness, a certain attention. Right? Like a musician is paying attention. Am I in tune or am I out of tune? Right? If you're out of tune, then you're affecting everything around you as well with that out of tuneness. Or in the sports game, if we're not playing in harmony with the team, then it's affecting the whole team. And so it's kind of a personal responsibility to make sure that we're in tune and that we're in harmony, and if not, to figure out how we can do that. Right? And as I mentioned, part of that is daily practice. That's essential. But then working with different types of healers, or spending more time in nature, right? There'd silence. Right? There's all different types of other practices for purifying, for working with releasing whatever pressure or whatever tendencies that we have. So this is a holistic system of yoga. Let's see, what kind of questions? How can I let go of negative thoughts on myself? Number one, how can I let go of negative thoughts on myself? You want to grow a nice garden, first you have to clean the soil. You have to dig the soil, you have to remove any rocks, any weeds, anything from the soil. And then it becomes very fine. You're adding nutrients and aerating it, you get very good soil. If you put anything in good soil, it will grow. The key is the soil. In the same way, we're having negativity, that's sticking, and then we're attached some way to that negativity. So we have to clean, we have to purify our breath, the vibration, our mind, right, through the practice of yogasana, breathing, and meditation. This is one, like taking a shower every day. Like we wash our clothes every day, you have to do it every day. So one, you have to clean. Anyway, we have negative tendencies. We have to clean our minds every day, clean our hearts every day, clean our bodies every day. But then the key is, because it's not that we don't want to get rid of negative thoughts. The focus is not, I need to get rid of negative thoughts. Focus is, what do you want in your life? What do we need in your life? Right? So it's not about pushing away negative thoughts. It's about bringing towards you the thoughts, the loving thoughts, the thoughts of gratitude, the thoughts and as we anchor ourselves more in that practice, the other ones fall away. Right? And so the question is, we can do practice like journaling practice, gratitude practice, love practice, but sometimes we say, I can't love myself, right? Then just doing the movement itself is love. The breathing, it's like you water the garden, right? The breath, the prana that you're filling with is love. And so little by little, right, spending time in nature. When you're in nature, you're filled with that love. The nature's completely blasting. The sun is completely shining itself, giving itself fully. The river's giving itself fully. And in that fullness and wholeness, we're bathed in that, like forest bathing. The trees, the medicine, the vibration, all the insects, the animals. So we need to focus on those places, those people that make us feel deeply alive, and spend more time around those places and those people. And then some form of community is really important, right, to help anchor ourselves in that. Because usually whatever we see is bad, we're never good enough. Right, so we also have to observe our tendencies, these underlying thoughts that we have of judgment about ourselves and about others, and to break it down and to see through it, right, and to reframe it. For sure, if we have this pattern, but that's on the side. The main focus is on, right, being present, right, and in that presence there's no thinking. And so in that state of no thinking, you become very open, like a child. You become very gentle and playful and simple. And so automatically the negative thoughts fall away by themselves, not because you're attacking the negative thoughts. When you attack the negative thoughts, really you're just reinforcing them. You're watering them by bringing them up. So the energy must go into this deep presence, or into playfulness, laughter, creativity, something else, right? We're judging ourselves because we're not good enough. We're never good enough, especially based on the goals. Even if we achieve the goals, it's never enough. We're in this constant state of not enough, not good enough, not this enough, not that enough. It's never enough. And so what we have to see is, this one that's never enough will never be enough. Right? It's never enough, no matter what we have. Because we can tell the famous people, the rich people, the beautiful people, the powerful people, still not enough. And so either we're going to be the first person to have enough, or it has to be a different way. And so the yoga starts with that this moment is enough. Before you were born, each moment, beyond everything, there's nothing is missing. And so until we can surrender, then we're always holding out for something else. Yeah, but this, but that, I need to do this and think that and figure out this and look like that and go here and so on. And so that's always something keeping us from being fully present. Until we can imbue that it's enough. It's enough doesn't mean, like for me, Joel Altman, this male human born in the United States, it's enough means the whole universe, every molecule and atom, every tree and forest, every planet and galaxy, everything in this moment is exactly enough in its place as itself. Right? It's not a story about me and each person winning or each person getting what they want or everything being fair. The enoughness, the wholeness is not a personal state. And so then through that enoughness, right, then we can be present. And then the thoughts slowly, the habit goes away. It's habit. Everything is a habit. Everything we do is a habit. The way that we react, the way that we speak, the tension we hold, the way that we breathe, everything is a habit. The habits can be changed. Same like a sports player. But most important is daily practice, daily repetition. You want to learn a foreign language, you practice every day. You want to learn a musical instrument, you practice every day. You want to learn a sport, you practice every day. Those things are on the surface. You only play the sport a few hours a week, but you're playing yourself every moment of every day. So very, very easily we can do a few months, few years, like learning the violin, to master ourselves. And then you see, your life is based on your experience, on your interpretation, everything. So when you shift the underlying pattern, then everything changes. How to protect myself from other people's negativity. Yeah, it's the same. It's by filtering our own emotions, thoughts, vibrations, so it's not stuck. And in this, when we become very fine and pure, then naturally that stuff doesn't come in, it bounces off. When we have inside us anger and hatred, all these things inside of us, then in a subtle way we're calling that, we're attracting that. And so that's why it's recommended every day to take time to clean your body, heart, and mind, the same like you clean your clothes, but working at a vibrational level. Right? That creates a kind of bubble around you. You have this electromagnetic field energetically around you. And when that's strong and healthy, then naturally it's protecting you, right, energetically from the thoughts and emotions of others, right? And also it's helping to store your own good energy and love and vibes instead of leaking out. And so we have to not only take care of our physical body and our clothing, but especially this energetic field of love and vibration. Otherwise, then we're swimming in, because if it's not full of like the light and the good vibration, then we're swimming in our emotions, negativity, sadness, jealousy, anger. Then whatever that is that we're feeling and thinking that's what we're swimming in. It's like a kind of pool of our own emotions and prana and everything. And so we want to filter that and then to purify it, and that it's vibrating with the love and gratitude and peace. This, instead of charged energetically with the heavy emotions like anger and jealousy and fear. And so this field, right, the Kundalini Yoga from Yogi Bhajan, powerful practices really focused on charging your electromagnetic field. All these practices, when done with awareness, are going to serve to charge you and bring you into like harmonic resonance. The key is to feel that state, to feel, I'm vibrating smoothly, I'm resonating, I feel like light and whole. Right? We need to recognize that when we feel like that, and then see what brings us out of that state, what brings us into that state. Because it's all a habit, being all the time anxious and impatient and like this is a habit. So we just retrain to be this habit of deeply grounded, rooted, by shifting the way of breathing and learning to control the senses and mind. We can completely change years and years of habit. The same like a sport, you have a bad habit playing a sport for years, for decades, and then they train you, no, turn the racket like this, turn your arm like this, and you do it, and all of a sudden, I can feel that, okay. How can I let go of the need to share my inner world with people I love and just be with myself? It's useful at times in the path to take extended periods of silence. If you can, like a month of silence, that's incredible. A month of silence is incredible. Even 10 days or 15 days would be good. But go somewhere, you can rent a retreat space. A lot of the old cathedrals, a lot through Europe, all these old like monasteries, you can rent like retreat rooms. You can go into nature somewhere and spend extended time around an island or something. Spend extended time in silence, doing practice and journaling and everything, and get real clarity, deep clarity. Because it's not like when it flows out, it flows out. When it flows in, it flows in. It's not about control. We don't need to control. If we feel we have to help others or convince others or save others, then we get in trouble. And so that's why at times it's useful just to be completely, like when we are not able to communicate, then so much comes up, so much ego comes up that we can see much more clearly Why do I need to say this? Why do I want this? Why do I need to look, what all the, that's, the silence, and combined with fasting if possible, but silence, really helps to purify the ego. And so journaling and silence and sadhana. But the more and more that we're fully embodying that, then it will overflow into everything that we do and all around us. And whether consciously, unconsciously, everyone, that's we're resonating, we're emanating, we're vibrating with that. The meditation period feels long to a beginner. How do we clear our mind for the whole time? Is it normal to feel restless? Yes, so it's good, perfect. No, we need to feel that. We never feel our mind. We're always distracting ourselves. It's good, first we have to just see it. It's not long, it's short. Shiva Bala Yogi was minimum 1 hour. She'd say 1 hour. First 15 minutes, your mind is like this. Next 15 minutes, your mind is like this. Then after another 15, it's like this. Only after 45 minutes or so does it slow down enough. It's like a big train. Wow, it's going, takes so long to break. So it's good, feel it, feel uncomfortable. It's so good, our whole life we're distracting ourselves. We become so fragile that we can't be present, we can't feel anything. And so it's normal, even at more experienced level. The point is not that your mind stops or that it feels good or something. The point is that afterwards, the other 23 and a half hours of the day, you feel sharp, you feel alive, you feel awake, you feel present. Right? Maybe the meditation will feel like you're getting kissed by angels and floating and your bodilessness. It does at times. But it doesn't matter. The point is not that you're doing it right. Again, we want to do it right. How am I doing it right? What does it mean? It must feel good. It must look good. No, it's not the point. No, the point is that whatever's inside has to come out. It's a kind of deep purge energetically and repatterning. And so all these habits of our nervous system, of our reaction, of our ego are going to come up. And that means it's right. That means the meditation is working. It's working. We don't know what it means that it's working. The same way that you eat food, you don't know how your food's digesting, but it is. So in the meditation, something's going on. You just have to trust that it's working. The key is 100 days, every day for 100 days. It's like someone picks up the violin and it's like, oh, it's so difficult. I can't make the sound. It just takes time. Right? Same like learning a foreign language. You start the first couple days, first week, first month. It's like impossible. But you just keep with it. This is the main thing I can say, because everyone's like, oh, what about this? What about that? I'm telling you, if you just persist, then all of that will go away. And it doesn't matter, because the point isn't that it's going to feel good. It might. There are times where it's, beyond, but it doesn't matter, because for your cells don't know, right? So there's, at a cellular level, at a subtle level, the work that's going on is completely different from what you experience and feel in your mind and your reactions, everything. And so the key is to maintain a daily practice and then observe how you are in your daily life. Observe your sleep, your digestion, the way you make decisions, the way that you speak to yourself and to others. These are the important signs. It's not like, oh, I managed to stop my mind if for 1 second in the meditation you have this moment of complete silence and freedom, it's like digging for gold or for diamonds. That's infinitely precious, just for 1 split second or for a few split seconds. So meditation is not what you think. Even I don't like to use the word meditation anymore. It's become like a dirty word. Everyone's like, oh, meditation, oh my God, I don't know. Just be quiet. For a second, be quiet, stop. All the trying, all the doing, all the going, all the knowing, stop everything. Just for a moment, just stop and be still. Forget your body, forget your mind. In that state of quiet, something deeper awakens. A deeper essence. And so that essence knows what to do. Specific tips to recenter your mind during meditation. So during meditation, what is meditation? Because what we're talking about is concentration. All this mind and centering, everything is concentration. In meditation, there's no mind. Right? So really what most people refer to when they're talking about meditation is concentration practice. Concentration is a precursor to meditation, we can say. Concentration means to be in one place. Normally we're in 1,000 places. We're not here. We're over there and in the past and all over the globe, all over time. We're split like a Humpty Dumpty in a bunch of pieces. Right? So first thing is to be in one place, our whole self, the whole past, the future, everything. And all of our senses, not to be going out in the mind, going out into the past, but everything in one place here and now. So first step is to our body also centered, grounded in the spine, right? Here and now. And so the breath also centered, focused here and now. So this concentration is at all levels. Concentration means the full deep presence, and then this matures in what's called ekagrata, one-pointed concentration, so that the whole being becomes like it collapses into one point, like a laser, like a point of a laser beam. And then, poof, you implode or like disappear into that point. That disappearing is the beginning of meditation. Everything up to that is concentration practice. And so for concentration requires an anchor. And different traditions use different anchors. The one anchor is the focus, like one pointed focus, this third eye point. Right? And so you keep directing your attention back to that point. And feel that point, and then merge in that point. Right? Another is the breath. Right? Some traditions use the breath, not the counting the breath or mentally the breath, but observing the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe, or the feeling under your nose. This is the Vipassana, Theravada tradition. In the Theravada, they have 40 objects of meditation. You can also imagine an object mentally, or repeat a word mentally. Right? Or there are many different objects that are used. What's important is to pick one object and stick with it, and not keep changing around. The object's just an anchor to bring you back to center, but then once you become centered, you want to slow down your breathing, and then like that you let go. If you become disturbed again, you can again come back to your breath until you reach that balanced state, and then again let go. It's a bit like sailing. Then you catch the wind. When you catch that, when you ride it, everyone experiences the samadhi, the state beyond the mind, but we're not paying attention. So you have to slow down, like a kind of hibernation. You slow down your biorhythm. You can train your mind. If time is just a concept and truly there is no beginning and end, can you say there is no past and future lives, but rather all lives coexist simultaneously? In other words, our past life is actually an alternate dimension reality that may have actions that ripple through the cosmos and affect us in this life, as we are connected by our specific frequency. Yeah, something like that. No, it's a multi-dimensional, interconnected thing where we're vibrating and resonating with the past and future and versions, and everyone is ourself also. There's only one self. Right? And we've existed not only as humans, but as all the species. Each individuality has been wound up from the gaseous forms through all of the microbiology into the plants and all this everything, and then infinite. They're saying by the time that we get to this, like on the path where we're questioning reality and space-time, all this, it's at least 100,000 human births. So we have this idea like, I was, maybe born a couple times before, something like that. Like the traditions that are talking about this, and essentially all traditions were. Even Jesus was talking about this to certain of the tribes when he would speak. This one birth, like one time heaven, hell thing was just a teaching technique used in certain traditions, but nobody really believed in that. And so they're talking 100,000 human births, let alone all these other births and all the species. And so we're infinitely connected with all of that in all the moments. So we're dealing with our personal karma and also these waves of societal and cosmic and all these kinds of things, all these different pressures. It's like a pressure system. like gravity. Gravity keeps us in pressure, but we have the pressure from all this desire, unfulfilled desires, and the us and them, and all of these judgments, everything. And so that's why, as we purify, the key is to just be present. Otherwise, we get caught up in an endless story. Right? And that's why also part of the forgetting. Forgetting is so important. You have to forget. We're holding on to all the bad shit, really. The stuff we hold on to is the stuff we don't even want. And it's like, imagine you eat food every day. Every day you eat food 2-3 times a day. And then you have to forget it. Even if you have the best meal in your life, imagine you have the best meal, and all you can do is remember that meal. Then you can never appreciate the meal that you're eating. You're always thinking about that meal, or the worst meal, and you're only thinking about that meal. You have to forget it. Every moment we eat, and then you forget it. And then you eat another meal. In the same way, immediately life experience, we eat, we digest, we forget it. Flush it down the toilet. Right? This forgetting allows us to be present and to appreciate and experience life. Otherwise, we're always stuck in comparing something to something else. So this forgetting is super important. And so we're forgetting. We were born in this lifetime. We forget everything we've done and haven't done. And so this forgetting is essential to make space for the discovery. How will I continue my practice at home without the peer pressure of coming during meditation? Yeah, so this is a great question, and this is how you do it. You have a very specific formula. For example, I know that people go to the gym, and at the gym it's like, okay, today is my legs day, and you have like 10 exercises, you have the weight, how many reps, how many sets you do, and then you just do it. It's like you just program it and you just do it, and you don't question it, and then you do it, then the next day you do the one you're supposed to do, and like that, you just do it. In the same way, you have to set a very fixed thing, like for example, the evening sequence. Sun salutation, forward bend, back bend, inversion, twist, 3 breathing, and meditation. Each one, you have a specific thing that you do, each posture for a specific time, and meditation for a specific time. You use a timer and you just do it. Right? If you have extra time, you can always do more. But the thing is, that's the inalienable. No matter what, you're going to do that. You've committed to doing that for 40 days or 100 days. Right? And then the next day again, you do it. You don't feel like it or whatever, you just drag yourself and start. It will do itself. You have to force yourself for at least 7 days, maybe 10 days. After the retreat, it's very easy if you continue immediately. But if you wait, then you got to kind of get it going. Once you do that 10 times, 15 times, it's easier to do it than not do it. If you don't do it, you feel off. So you have to make it so that your system becomes accustomed to that and that it's fixed. If you leave it up to your ego, what should I do? What do I feel like? I don't know, maybe this, maybe later, whatever, impossible. So fixed time, fixed practice, use the timer, and just do it, repeat. Program, it's a program. It's not a question. You know you can do that much, however many minutes it is. If it's 10 minutes, then fine, 10-minute practice. 30, I used to say 4%, which was 1 hour. Then I went down to 3, now I'm down to 2. 30 minutes, I think, is sufficient to stay in shape. It's about 10-15 minutes of a posture, 5-10 minutes of breathing, 10-15 minutes of meditation. You can increase over time. Right? If you feel more, you have a few more minutes, you can always increase. But make something that you never decrease, and it's just that. It's just that. And you do that again and again. You do it immediately, forget about it. Don't worry about it, don't think about it. And then it's important to create a space in your home, a sacred space where you can go and you can do your practice. And ideally, same time every day. This is the way that yoga, it's like a medicine, it's like a part of the daily hygiene, brushing the teeth, take a shower. By doing the practice at home, then you're really able to be in yourself, to be with yourself, and that connectedness, really it shifts everything. Why does Buddhism talk so much about suffering? Question, why does Buddhism talk so much about suffering? I think that it was Buddha's observation that people are suffering, like everybody's suffering. And that's what more and more I see, that even though we have so much and everything looks good, people really, there's a very deep level of suffering or disconnection and that we need to find a way to deal with that. The different forms, the word suffering makes it feel kind of foreign, because it's like, okay, starving people like in Africa are suffering, but I'm not suffering. But the suffering really is just this feeling of being disconnected, this disconnection in the nervous system. It's not just a mental or emotional thing, but there's a feeling of being out of tune or out of alignment or out of harmony. And so I think all of the traditions were for bringing people back into harmony within themselves and within life. All the spiritual traditions, all the religious traditions, like a kind of compass, like a recentering, a retuning. And part of that is recognizing what the challenges are. And their suffering is like, birth, death, old age, illness, right? These are all inevitable. And so nowadays we have such a strong false sense of security and stability as compared to, say, 100 years ago or 500 years ago or 5,000 years ago. But really, it's still, the life is still the same. And so the Buddha was focused on bringing people back into harmony by examining the problems. How to find peace with people who hurt you. So you never find peace with people. You find peace deeply rooted in the self. And when you're in a state of being, then everything is peace. It's not about changing someone else or being okay with something or someone or about life, but the peace is a state of being. And so what we need to do is we need to be grounded in that state of peace, which is beyond any cause, which is for no reason. Also, if the peace has a reason, then it's a kind of like a very fragile, because as soon as the reason changes, the peace. So it's not a real peace. Right? Sometimes we can't get away from people, like they're in our family or something. Right? So these are challenges that we face, and we have to listen deeply to know at times we have something to learn. Right? There's something that partly how we're acting, and that we're part of something, and that there's a lesson to be learned. At times, we have to learn the lesson of boundaries and stepping away and taking time to be separate and to be with ourselves. Not that anybody makes anyone right or wrong, but at times it's not possible to find a way forward. And so we have to extract ourselves from some kind of toxic situation, and both of those are valid. It's not that there's one rule of how we have to act or to be, but the primary thing is to establish that peace within myself, in my breath, in my nervous system, through a daily practice, and committing to that and living in touch with that. And then that will bring me into a state of deeper insight in how to interact and relate to other people around in my life. But the peace, we have to see that peace is inside. It's not coming from others. It's not despite others or in spite of others, or it's not because of someone else. It's a personal state. Awareness. You find it in practice. How do you continue it to a lasting feeling? What if you lose it? How do you find it again? Is practice the path and the end? So awareness, we're saying it's like a faculty, like thinking. We have the faculty of thinking. We're involved with thinking all the time. We've become very good. We're thinking many things at once, jumping back and forth between thoughts about the past, thoughts imagining the future, thoughts that are creatively kind of playing with different things. Right? We're all the time in our minds. But another faculty is feeling. Another faculty is awareness. Awareness is closer to feeling. Feeling means sensation. You feel hot, cold, you feel tingling or vibration. This is a feeling. Right? Then awareness is a kind of deep, centered listening and openness, a quietness, a wholeness, a sensitivity. And so we can cultivate that sensitive awareness. You can have that in sports. Many people in sports are in a state of awareness, state of presence. But also in acting or different things that You can bring about awareness in a state of action, but also an awareness in a state of inaction. And this is meditation, where awareness collapses in on itself. Right? And so we practice, you have walking meditation, you have mindfulness. This is a practice of awareness in action. Then you have a meditation, samadhi, which is practice of awareness in action. Awareness is a different faculty. We just haven't been activating that. As you start to shift in awareness, you feel, oh, this feels nice. It's like going to sleep. When you go to sleep, all the tension resolves and it's peaceful. In the same way, while you're awake and you rest in awareness, you can experience that peacefulness, the release of the tension of control and trying and thinking like this. So awareness is a kind of surrender from the habitual pattern of thinking in order to control the life situation. And so, for sure, it's through practice. It's like playing a sport. It's like the musician, the jazz musician, is training the scales again and again, going up and down the different scales and the different variations and everything, until it becomes automatic. Then in the middle, playing the music, there's a certain freedom that comes through that training. Without that training, you can't be free. Whatever we give value to, this is what we'll find in our lives. And the truth is, we don't give value to peace. We don't give value to happiness and awareness. We give value to money. We give value to fear. We give value to the opinion of other people. And so our whole life is spent, our energy is really going into those things. So we have to examine very clearly, what is our deep desire? What do we want in this life? Right? And then naturally, our attention, our energy will go into that. Awareness. I understand the importance of slowness and stillness in breath and meditation, but why is it seen as a negative to have a fast-paced, flowing asana practice movement before the stillness? For me, the playing sports is great. I think everyone should play sports every day, because playing a sport, you're getting a lot of different things. Right? It's often sport is some teamwork or individual thing. It's body-mind connection. You have to focus. You have to learn how to let go and surrender and teamwork, other thing. It's a kind of improvisation. Sport's a kind of improvisation. So I think that's really important. And for me, doing a kind of fast-paced, heavy engaged asana is kind of more like a sport, in the sense that the other practice, what we're focused on is activating, tuning, and integrating all of the different channels in the body, and settling into one's own kind of a deep, interconnected state of presence. And so that it's a whole package. And so I think that also the way that we're framing this alchemy practice is it goes from the movement into the breath into the stillness. And so it's becoming more and more subtle. So if it's a very aggressive, kind of active initial practice, it might be disturbing for the others, but it might not. Before we were doing years ago a much more intense practice. And so I think that the trouble is when we try to push ourselves, really, this pushing ourselves is somehow then more difficult to slow down. But that's for each person to find out for themselves. Really, the key is, what I'm saying is movement, breath, and stillness. That could be Qigong, that could be Tai Chi. Qigong and Tai Chi are both much more slow. But I think also dance. I think the movement preferable to anything is dance, because dance is free. Dance is not like, oh, am I doing it right? I'm not doing it right. I have to move like this or like that. The dance comes from within, and so then we're able to really unlock and to move and to tap into to our organs and emotions and archetypes and everything that's stuck inside. The purpose of the movement is what? Is to move the energy. So we have to find what works best for us to move the energy that we can do again and again and again. Whatever we can do daily. Right, so for example, Ashtanga sequence, this 2 hours of very intensive aggressive practice, difficult to do that daily. And then if you're doing that for 2 hours, how can you have a practice of breathing and meditation? So I think everything has its place. It's not a negative thing. It's just that in general, what I'm seeing is the approach to yoga is a purely physical practice, where the goal is to do it, to achieve more and more difficult postures, or to do it in a more, in a more and more smooth way. as opposed to being deeply grounded and rooted within oneself. But whatever physical practice works that you can do regularly is good. It's definitely good. Not everyone who practices tennis or musical instruments succeeds. So will I succeed if I practice yoga and meditation? It's hard. I mean, not everyone who practices music or tennis will become an incredible player, will become the best player in the world. But anyone who picks up the racket regularly, and is sincere, will definitely be able to play. Will definitely be able to play and will improve their game. And any improvements, right? If you have to play tennis every day, then any improvement is going to be drastic. So if you have to be yourself any day, even if you're making a little improvement, it's going to be drastic. But the point is for sure that anyone who is sincere and who is practicing is going to improve at whatever they're doing. Whether it's speaking a language, whether it's building furniture, whether it's making a garden, whatever you do, if you practice that, and if you're paying attention, and if you're sincere, then you can't not, then it's just how it is. And so success is not being the best. Success is just, that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning, just to be present. Just to be present is the success. To be present is the joy. And so as we improve our technique, then naturally it's much more easy to be present in life. Right? Whereas if we're all fumbling all over the place and like that, then it's very difficult to be present. And so I would say yes, you will succeed if you practice. If it's hard, it's good. It's good to do something hard. Now we become so lazy. We don't want to challenge ourselves. We want it easy. We want to be comfortable. To do something, if each morning we challenge ourselves, we hold the posture, it's hard, but then we overcome. So we get this feeling, wow, I'm doing something difficult and I can do it. I have this feeling I did it again and again each day. And I'll say I'm doing 5 postures, 3 breathing, meditation. Then I have this, I did it 10 times. 10 times before I start my day, I have, that was difficult. I did it. And didn't react and stayed present like this. And then you get that momentum flowing day after day. It's cultivating a willpower. The most important thing we need is a willpower. How do you deal with heavy thoughts during your practice? I mean, during the practice, you're cultivating a fire. So you want to throw everything into the fire immediately. The heavy thoughts, the light thoughts, everything put in the fire. After the practice, journal, write things down. Right? Whatever thoughts are coming, then there's some message for us. The thought's not the problem. The thought's just a messenger. It's making us aware of something that's going on. Right? You have pain in your leg. The pain is not the problem. The pain is just a messenger telling you you have something you have to investigate. This is something that you have to pay attention to. So the heavy thoughts are good, bring it on, whatever's in there, we got to know, right? If something's in there, if something's hiding in your closet, if something's stuck in it, better that we know it. So bring it on, whatever it is, and then make a note. Then you have to unpack it as needed. Some things need to be unpacked. We need to work with someone, or we can do some journaling. Some things just we can let it go. Then we say, I forgot that was there. Right? But that means the practice is working. This means the practice is working. When the things are coming up, right, when we feel uncomfortable and like this means it's working. The key is just to keep going. 2 more questions. What was your most peaceful moment in your life? No, peaceful, it's not like that. It's not like a, what do you call, the most, the best, the better, something like that. No, the peace is alive, you know what I mean? The peace that's alive, the real peace is the only one. My memory of peace or my idea of peace in the future is a false peace. It's fake peace. A picture of peace is fake peace. The only real peace is that living peace in this moment. Everything else is false. I refuse to live in any idea about the past or the future. Of anything. No, because what then? Then it's never good enough. It was not like that peace. Oh, it's pretty good peace. How's your peace? Oh, it's okay peace. You know, you see, it's crazy. We're crazy. We have to see it's our way of thinking that makes it impossible. We'll never be happy with this way. Same with happiness. What was the biggest happiness? Oh, that happiness was so good. This one, it's not that good. This person's, you see, you never win. You can't win. As soon as we compare, then we've lost everything. We've lost the present moment. We've lost the past. Whatever we're comparing to, it's not that. Whatever idea of the happiness in the past I have, it's a fantasy. And so when I stop thinking of how, this is why also I hate the question, how are you? How are you? As soon as I think, how am I? I'm this, I'm that. It's a trap. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm mad. Whatever I am, I'm infinite. Each moment, each minute, I have so many different experiences and thoughts and like. So if I latch onto one of them and hold on to that one, then I'm stuck. And so really, this I am, to get caught in any one particular story is trouble. And so this, I think, is important, to just be present, and everything comes and goes. Last question. That's a big one. What is your view on spiritual mushrooms, drugs like ayahuasca and other plant medicine? Why so many Indian spiritual gurus against substances like these? So, for sure, since the beginning of time, we have different medicine for different problems, right? We have many different problems, like constipation, or we have like a problem with the kidneys, or we have a problem with the insomnia, different things. And there are different plants that are useful for different things that are going on. There's also, we have a certain category of plants that are useful for problems like our ego's tied in a knot and we're stuck and we're banging our head against the wall, or we're spinning in some emotion or stuck in something for a long period of time. Right? This is a severe situation, and we have medicine, specific medicine that's used to help to free us, right, and to reconnect with the source, and to kind of see ourselves from outside and to release. And this is also very, very important medicine, and it has been used since the beginning of time in all the different cultures. And probably 9 out of 10 people in our modern society could deal with, a dose of this in, every now and then, once or twice a year. Same like fasting is very useful, right, to clean our bodies and minds all the time. Now, because of our way of life and our misunderstanding and disconnection from nature and disconnection from our hearts, right, then we become very tight and stuck. And so it can be very useful. I strongly recommend. And there are many people holding space for this in different ways now. And so I think just like fasting, just like silence, working with the plant medicine is essential. Especially in the modern time where we're so disconnected, and we could spend like decades just stuck spinning in this thing, or just in one session, just kind of expand beyond ourselves and feel the aliveness around, and kind of see ourselves from outside and laugh and so for sure. The Indian spiritual gurus, no, I mean, they had different medicine in India that they're using as well. In general, it's kind of like maybe sports players taking steroids or something. I mean, they're purists in India. They're working with different forms of tantra when we're doing mantra and like this. But often in the modern time, they're not using the soma. They're not using these sacred medicines as much. This is more in the South America, Central America, Africa, that medicine approach has been stronger these last 1,000 years or whatever, a couple 1,000 years. But they're not the rishis for sure. The rishis and siddhas and the siddha medicine, they were definitely in tune with that now. But now, especially in the mainstream way, in this mainstream path, it's more kind of like do your practice and purification, like a sports player, like a sports team, right? They're more focused on the training and purification through those ways. But I think like fasting, like sleep deprivation, like silence, that doing, once or twice a year in a safe space, and ideally during the daytime or in a ceremony that's through the night in a held space, that is highly beneficial for most people, especially with integration. The integration is equally as important as the medicine. My understanding now, I lived in Brazil for some years way back, and that the dietas, the preparation, right, the fasting and preparation and the integration is as important as the medicine and the experiences, these peak experiences that we have, and so on. And so I think overall, the idea and the focus is more and more on integration. And because we're having these wild journeys all the time, like even once you awaken the pathways through the medicine, and I really think that most different medicine is valid, even things like ketamine, MDMA, LSD, and then of course ayahuasca, iboga, all of these, the grandfather, grandmother. Once those pathways have been triggered like that, then it's like you can re-access that afterwards as well. And it becomes more the opening the channels and activating the neuroplasticity. And in combination with that, I'll just say float tank, right? I think everyone should try floating. It's a very useful practice. I've been trying to get a tank here for the last 12 years, and now I have a lead that we might be able to get a tank this year, which would be incredible. So people can float, because we have all this resistance in our nervous system. We're carrying all this tension all around. This is the thing. And so through the plant medicine, or through floating, or through these different practices, we can finally release that tension, and then the life is flowing naturally, and then that we get supercharged. And so this is all that I'll say about that. But no, I definitely think it has its benefits in the path of unlearning, of purging from our system all of these old stories and all these things that you're not good enough. We've been told by the whole society not good enough, by the advertising, and in order to make us feel insecure. And so we have to release that from our posture and our way of speaking and our way of feeling. And so all of this is useful. All right, enough talking. Everyone take a moment. Again, come back to center. Forget everything. Forget all the words. None of the words are true. Beneath the words is the silence. In that silence, you are the truth. But we don't need words. What we need is just to be quiet. In that quiet, you are yourself. Without knowing, without thinking, you are yourself. Act from this place. Live from this place. All the words are false. No amount of words will describe yourself, can justify yourself, can contain yourself. So be quiet, you are yourself. Let the others figure out who you are. We can't figure out who we are. How can we know anyone else? Just be yourself. Without any rules, without any prerequisites. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.